our primary functions as men, right, are protect, provide, and problem solve, right? So if that's the case, right, and we tell women all the time, you can't come into a relationship and then be masculine. A man can't unlock your masculinity. So we tell women to come into situations prepared as if you want to be a wife, right? So men, I think women have the right to be able to ask, hey, listen, I want you to at least act like a husband if that's what you were trying to be. So any woman whose life I have actually stepped into and took it seriously, then sure, I'm going to provide at some level. I'm not going to be tricking off all crazy for nothing. But if you were doing your part, I'm going to make your life easier.
The issue with what you're saying, Trev, is there are women who will go into a situation and they'll say, well, why would I cook for a man and he's not my husband? Or why would I change the way I dress?
Some people say that, but I like to cook anyway because I like to eat. So, like, I'm a cook.
My point is, we got an unbalanced equilibrium. You have all these women with all these expectations based off their previous experiences. Because I know Mr. Lego was saying things like, oh, she already broke. No, she's entitled. She has already set herself up with a project. The project didn't reap no benefits. So the next man she's going to getting this adverse reaction of her because she's already given so much and she didn't get what she wanted out the deal. So you have to come.
I agree.
I can agree. I can agree with that. I can agree with that a lot.
That's what I'm saying. Like it don't be what essentially the women do be making an unbalanced projection to the men. They're making an unbalanced proposition.
So vegan babe, what do you think?
Right.
I was gonna say,
hold on. What about vegan babe?
I think she froze.
She got a delay. I think she got a delay too.
Oh, she got a delay. Vegan baby, you there?
Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Can y'all hear me now? Okay. Just to touch base on what everybody was saying, I will agree about the adverse reaction on a sense. So obviously, me saying what I said is partially how I feel in a sense, right? But the other piece of it is, I did the whole wifely duty things for a good 5 years. Took care. He lost his job. I provided for the entire house. We had a kid together deliberately. All this good old woo. Now, no, I wasn't married, but in terms of being together and being loyal and all that, I did that. He fell in hard times. I helped take care of him and everything. I did the whole quote unquote 9. Out of it, in terms of assistance in the beginning, he was helping with the kids, all that good stuff. When he started getting irritated and he started getting his little, I don't know, his feelings or whatever. I don't know what he thought the relationship was supposed to bring for him in terms of filling in his own void. A lot of us come to relationships hoping that it solves our problems, whether we done been to therapy or not. And so if you get with a woman and you thought it was going to make you feel whole and it didn't, and she can speak life into you all day, but it didn't necessarily do what it needed to do because you didn't do your internal work. You have a kid, you think it's going to fill a void. It didn't do any of that for him. He was still talking crazy. He still kind of got out of hand, no matter how much I'm helping out, taking care of everything. But in the sense, after that relationship, I would say I'm slightly scarred, but I'm not like what you bring to the table in that sense, as much as if we're doing this, I'm not going to be investing 100% and you're investing 2%. I can't do that anymore because I find myself, in a deficit because I naturally want to attend to a man like a wifely person. Okay, let's cook for you. Let's massage. If I'm with you and I choose to commit to you, then I'm all in. And it gets to be, a difficult thing if I'm all in and he's not all in. Or he was all in the beginning and just enough to get in, and now he started slacking,
Doesn't that mean it's important for you to not pick a bum?
Well, if a person starts off with a job, though, how could and they're having all these illusions? So this person was quote unquote conscious, was reading, was very educated to the point where I didn't perceive anything. You know what I mean? Until we moved together, certain things weren't revealed. So
why did y'all move together? Because he moved in your house, right?
No, we moved together. I moved from a whole nother state.
Oh, I thought you said he was in your house. Okay, so
he lost his job and then I took care of everything at one point. So
okay. But my whole thing is just a question. Wouldn't it have made more sense for you to have gotten married before you moved to another state to be with a man and turn around and have a baby with him on purpose? Your words?
I would agree. I'm not going to disagree with any of that, with the whole promises of marriage and stuff like that. But me living in 6 hours away, I moved to the state. We didn't get married right away. It was a whole bunch of, let's put it off, whatever. Obviously, I didn't know that I was dealing with the person I was dealing with, and the red flags were not big enough for me to pay attention to.
Marriage, he would have more or less backed off. Like,
no, I agree. I'm not gonna sit up here and say I was perfect at 26 years old. My mind wasn't necessarily in the mature state. I'm just saying at that time I was head over heels, dumbfounded by love, moving in a way that I can't say is 100% how I would move now, because my brain is much more matured and left over from the tragedies. But at 26 years old, fresh out of college, 2 years, I was all excited about love and marriage, the idea of it and everything else. And so I did things that I probably wouldn't say I would do now, or tell a little girl to have advice to do if I was to pass that down. But those are the mistakes I made.
So basically you were young and dumb.
Yeah, I would say so.
At almost 30.
I don't think
they always young and dumb, bro. They
you
always young and dumb.
30, but when you're in college, you're not out here trying to live life. If I'm focused on college,
it's crazy.
Well,
if you would have required marriage, you would have realized he was a loser because he would have started making excuses on. Do y'all realize if you require marriage, listen. If you require a man to marry you, he's going to run if he's a loser. It's just really simple. The only way you can tell
some men marry you, but some men marry you.
Y'all missing some context here.
It is
the
crazy.
issue with what you saying is, he had already made a huge commitment. He let this woman move 6 hours into his house, and he took her on.
That's not no commitment.
Well, we moved together. He didn't have his own house. We got an apartment together.
Okay, that's fine.
How's that a commitment?
But wait, give me 1 second. There was a commitment there. It takes a commitment to go live with somebody. I don't think people actually consider what that is. Like, that is a huge commitment to merge your life, merge your bills, merge your finances.
No, it's not. Not to men.
That's convenient.
It is.
Some people.
And I'll be honest with you. I think that she dodged a bullet.
I'm not saying it's a ring. I'm not saying that. Please don't get me mistaken. But when you make a decision to say, you know what, I'm gonna go and give away all my stuff, and you go give away all your stuff, and you move in with somebody, that is a commitment. Whether
From a man's point of view, it's not. It's not.
That's convenient.
I've had women live in my house, and I committed. It wasn't commitment.
Listen.
It is not a form of commitment to a man. A man would love to live with a woman so you can wake up the ass every morning. It is not a commitment to men. To women, yes. It's not to men. It's not.
I'm gonna say this, and the reason why I asked you that question, Vegan, because I pretty much knew that's where you're gonna go with that. Basically saying you were young and dumb. And here's the problem with what you said, because I'm gonna tie this back into what you said initially when you were asked about the topic. When you say you were young and dumb, oftentimes, this is what I had to tell my daughter. If you ever hear the "I was young and dumb" excuse, or you hear somebody say "I was young and dumb," or you use it, all you're telling the other person is you need to excuse everything I did at that point because I was young and dumb, and I still expect this result from you. You still need to do X,
you said young and dumb, and I agreed to it. So I didn't say I was young and dumb. I made
that means
not
you
wise
said young
decisions.
and dumb if you agreed to it. So let them finish.
So here's the problem with that. If I'm the one coming into that situation, this is what I told my daughter, and this is what I would tell anybody. If you're gonna say I was young and I was dumb at that time, you have to sell yourself to the next person. You have to say, all right, I get that I did XYZ at that time, but here's how I can be an asset to you now, given the way that I am now. Here's the problem though. When you spoke up about how you felt about going into the next relationship, you talked about everything a person's supposed to do for you, despite the fact that they have to hear that you were young and dumb when you gave somebody more for less. So if I'm coming in, I got to give you more than the last person did, and you gave the last person more, and they didn't do shit. How do you think that's going to come? How do you think that's going to come off to the next man when you're all expectations, and you come in and say, "Hey, look, why would I do wife duties if I don't have a husband? But I expect you to be a husband for me because that's my expectation out the door." He
And
No,
that's
has
I
why
to be a
wouldn't,
husband.
but I wouldn't say that I would denounce any of my stuff. I wouldn't say that I still wouldn't cook and all that stuff as who I am. I'm not bitter, so I'm not like I'm not gonna give you nothing. I'm not that person. I'm not bitter from my stuff. I've healed and worked on certain things. So I still think I should say if I'm coming to a commitment and we're choosing to possibly further ourselves, then I should still be willing to give whatever I'm. If I'm saying come as a husband, I need to still be willing to come as a wife. So I'm not going to expect you to do something I'm not going to come in with. So I never said that. I'm saying, yeah, but you also have the right to grow
Let her
too,
finish,
right?
y'all. Let her
Like if I
finish.
learn from what I went through, why would I repeat the same? Well, I know I gave him less. Let me just give you less. A lot of you men think that once a woman gave, like, okay, if I had sex with him when I was 18, so I'm supposed to just give it to you nonchalantly. At some point, everybody has the right to make an executive decision, just like some of y'all might have been flinging y'all penis around until y'all got focused on y'all goals. Now you know women can be a distraction. Now you know you shouldn't be just putting your shit and everything without a condom, right? Because you might have, whatever. You get wiser, you move ahead. You don't go ahead and go back to dumb mistakes just because you made one when you were younger. You're never going to grow that way. Well, yeah, I know I gave him everything, blah, blah, blah. Now, if my man that loves me and is equally balanced with me and we get married and he's taking care of me and he falls on a hard time, yeah, I'm gonna step up as a wife because I still think that if we're together, I'm not gonna let you fall. What I know is not to do that for someone that's not my husband.